The following is a presentation of Gold and Blue Nation.
You know, I guess my niche, if you want to call it that, in this profession, every place that I've gone, every job that I've taken was at a place that needed some help. And when this job came open, obviously the program wasn't where it needed to be and needed some help. And I liked doing that and felt like I could do that. So here we are 12 years later and feel like we've accomplished that somewhat. I think I got special permission to play in our Little League when I was 8 years old. The age for the league was 9 to 12, and they let me play as an 8-year-old.
Mazey was one of the smartest baseball players I ever have been around. He was never green because he was just that kind of guy. He was a very heady player.
He was a really good two-way player as an outfielder and a pitcher. A great base runner, base stealer, great bunter as a player.
You know, you never think about life after baseball until after baseball hits you. So my dad was a coach. He taught me a lot. I picked some things up from my college coach, Bill Wilhelm. As I was playing, I kind of figured that I would gravitate toward that. It kept me from getting a real job, and it was something I loved. So I always kind of knew that I would do that.
When he got into coaching, and of course came back to Clemson first, and you know, he was a 27-year-old head coach. And I think he was the youngest head coach in the country at the time at Charleston Southern.
When I first met Maze, he was younger and a bit cocky. You kind of have to have some cockiness in this job, right? East Carolina was building a new stadium, so Mazey got to be a part of that as well. They were basically upgrading their stadium as well. So he had a lot of input as to, you know, the building and what is needed, the batting cages, just kind of all the baseball stuff that's needed. So that was his first experience helping to build a stadium with, you know, his vision.
I brought him in as the pitching coach, but once we sat down and looked at our staff, you know, the bottom line was he was the best available coach to call the pitches and coach the base runners and help run the offense. Randy's still one of the best pure baseball people that I've ever been around on all sides of the ball. So we got him to TCU, and he was a massive part of getting us to our first Super Regional and then our first College World Series.
And he knew about West Virginia baseball before we got here. I mean, you know, he's been in the business for a long time. He knows sleeper teams, and he thought this was like a sleeping giant, especially when you're going into the Big 12 and you have a chance to be this team that is away from all of these other Big 12 teams. It was all about timing.
Big 12 opportunity for West Virginia University, obviously a very, very good baseball conference, among other things. And, you know, our baseball program was basically, you know, about as downtrodden as it could get. It was pretty dismal, you know, in terms of the interest that students, community, whatever, had with baseball. So the first decision that I had to make was, do we keep baseball?
Funding really wasn't there. I think at the time, I think they were operating on, 2 scholarships less than the 11.7. And I remember when this was all coming down, the Big 12 baseball coaches were not happy that West Virginia got into the league because they thought, okay, West Virginia is going to really pull down our RPI. At the time, they were vying with the SEC as the predominant baseball conference in the country.
So, long story short, we convened a bunch of very smart baseball people, Ken Kendrick, Diamondbacks owner, as well as the Nutting family that owns the Pirates, both West Virginia, connections, if you will, sent some of their best people for me to question and get advice from, et cetera. And bottom line was, they said, listen, you can play baseball, you can be successful. You need a coach who understands the type of player that we're going to recruit. Kids from Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, et cetera. Those are kids who haven't played half the baseball games that a kid growing up in Texas or California or Arizona plays. These are kids who are probably the quarterback on the football team and the point guard on the basketball team, and they're doing all the sports. He said they're great players, but they might be 2 or even 3 years behind in terms of their development. You need someone, Oliver, to that understands that, knows how to develop those kids, and can kind of take them along, because when they get to be juniors, seniors, they're going to be as good as any kid growing up in Arizona who's played 100 baseball games a year. I was looking for somebody that understood this, and of course I stumbled upon Randy Mazey. Where did he grow up? Johnstown, Pennsylvania. There couldn't be a town more like Morgantown than Johnstown.
I was at TCU, and when this job came open, there's an agent down there that represented a lot of our players when they signed professionally. And when this job came open, that agent, who I of course got to know, called me and said, hey, would you have an interest in the West Virginia job? I know Oliver Luck pretty well. And I was like, heck yeah.
So I remember when they brought him up for his interview, they brought me as well. And I can distinctly remember going to Holly Field with Kelly and Oliver, and they said, this is where you're going to play right now, but this is not where you're going to be, and so you kind of had to envision it.
Yeah, I just came up here, and Kelly Cunningham at the time and Mike Parsons drove me up to what is now the stadium site and stood me on the hill. And I remember Kelly like it was yesterday. She said, can you visualize it? Just overlooking what is now Kendrick Family Ballpark. And I said, I actually can. My vision for this program in future years, in the month of June, is to be holding practices, not press conferences. So I'm excited for the challenge that lies ahead. I don't even know what type of equipment we have in this program, but if we have one bat and one ball, we're going to go play a game. That's the way I am, and we're just going to grind out at bats, win every pitch, and get the type of players that are willing to get dirty and do that. If we only have one T-shirt in our locker and it gets dirty, you wash it and wear it again the next day and be proud of it.
The facility, literally the baseball players were changing in their cars in the parking lot at the Coliseum, and walked down to Holly Field. They were using the same restroom that fans would use, because there was no locker room at all. They had a dugout, but that was about it.
So Holly Field, first and foremost, was a dumping ground for all of the geese in the area. That is true. They would actually put those fake dog statues out in the outfield because our guys would be practicing, or they would have a game and you're literally sidestepping the goose droppings. So that was Holly Field.
I think when we originally started this program, we had to hang our hats on development of the players and changing the culture. First thing we had to do was change the culture.
I think the success that Randy had early, I think there was the confidence in people that, if we invest in this, this will all work out. And it has. Once they built that stadium, obviously, when you combine that with Randy Mazey, they were off to the races.
Head coach of the Mountaineers is Randy Mazey.
I'll never forget it. We played Butler that night. It was the opening night of the stadium, and Foxy had that walk-off double. Just a perfect way to round out the opening of that stadium.
If I recall correctly, we had over 3,000 fans in the stands, and I don't even know if you would have taken all of the games played up until that point that we'd been here, if we would have had a total of 3,000 fans in the 3 seasons leading up to opening weekend. And to do it, of course, in walk-off fashion. That's just I feel like it kind of set the tone for how things were going to go at that stadium, that you're going to have these exciting wins and the people were on board. And I remember just sitting there looking around and just thinking, wow, like people are buying into this, like they get it and they were excited. So that was the best part.
Now we sit, 15 years later almost, and it's unbelievable how successful the team's been. The crowds out at the ballpark, minor league baseball, being a summertime activity. I mean, it's worked out as well as I thought it would.
I think that the kids in this program, we have a blue-collar mentality. I think they get a little bit tired of being disrespected. We're always picked in the bottom half of the league, no matter what. It doesn't matter. And we've played with a chip on our shoulder, and that team broke through the ice, so to speak.
We knew we had an opportunity to break a record or set a record for the first regional in 21 years. And I just think Coach Mazey also kind of let us go a little bit. It was up to you guys. It was your team. You guys take care of it. And I just think that's so important when your coach has trust in you to kind of back off a little bit and let you guys figure it out, as opposed to always having his hand in his say in everything. I think that's so important when you can just kind of trust your teammates and trust your players.
That right there helped put WVU baseball on the map and to show the committee that, oh, hey, like, don't overlook WVU anymore.
At some point in this program, you had to transition. Incoming players were more talented than players that had been playing here. So that team, when they got here as freshmen, played a lot. And in 2019, they all had about 3 years of experience on the field. And when they played as freshmen, they took their lumps and lost some games, but grew from it.
I think the big thing was Coach Mays kind of realizing, like, all right, the culture needs to be where it is now on the teams the past 2 years that have, been super, super close and had a lot of fun all the time. So I think he understood that, and he understood that we had a lot of big personalities on that team, and we kind of had to let them come out.
So I think the experience we had, obviously Manoah's emergence as a true ace was really important to that team. And I think that team had the best knack of all 4 years when I was in school of making sure we got things done when we needed to. We probably weren't the best offense that we had, but when we needed to score, when there was important times with runners in scoring position, I think we always made sure we got the runs in and did a job for each other.
I think it was just an overarching just mentality that if we just do our job, we're going to win. And I think we went on a pretty good run late in that year, closer to the Big 12 tournament, where we just constantly were winning, and it was just we were in a straight flow state. Some of the best times you'll ever have are just when you're just constantly winning and there's nothing but good vibes in the air.
The atmosphere that was created here with the people standing up on the hill at the urgent care center and that wouldn't buy a ticket to get in but still wanted to watch. The atmosphere that was created here in 2019 changed this program, hopefully forever.
That was a chance for the nation to really peek into the program, and the crowds were unbelievable. I remember seeing that when we were doing Squeeze Play in the studio, thinking, man, like, that is awesome.
For him to make it to that regional in 2017, and then for us to do that in 2019, it was like he finally got the culture of being like a team, a family, where he wanted it to be.
The 2023 team has guys all over it that we got out of transfer portal that have never been Mountaineers before, so you don't know what to expect. But we started playing and started winning and kept winning and kept winning and kept winning, and it was like, okay, this team has a chance.
Our team chemistry was something that I don't think I've ever seen before. We were all like brothers on and off the field. Couldn't really separate us no matter what. Just a bunch of different personalities, and just everything coming together and just making one hodgepodge team that was hard to beat.
I don't know that it's sunk in yet for me, the community, the state, that West Virginia won the Big 12. That's so hard to do for this program and this league, geographically speaking, and all the obstacles we have to overcome. Yeah, they'll remember this feeling, and it's hard. The first time you play in a super regional, it's hard to win. So this is the natural progression of a program. Last 12 years, what we've accomplished and what we keep accomplishing and keep doing better than we've ever done before. And next time you get to a super regional and you win it, it's something that's never done before. So there's plenty of room to improve this Mountaineer program, and I feel really good about the future of it.
Yeah, I do think that Mays is a bit of a father figure. Obviously, he's older, but I think he just always looks at these guys as an extension of him and his family. Like, those are his guys. And he just wants to make sure that they're taken care of, not just the baseball side, but the life side.
You know, there's coaches that choose to have a relationship with their players, and then there's coaches that they're the coach and they're in charge. And you always knew that Coach Mays was going to be the guy that was going to be the players' coach, and that anybody would run through a wall for Randy.
I mean, this is someone that would come to your graduation or like go to your wedding. I mean, that's kind of like the guy he is. I know I graduated this past December, and he was there. Tuck also graduated, and he was there. Taking pictures with us after the graduation.
I've learned a ton from him, obviously within the game, but also outside of the game. Just how to be a better person, how to be a better man, how to be a better teammate. He kind of explains things in life terms, not necessarily just baseball terms. So, you know, he tells us that the best compliment you could have is being told that you were a great teammate, which is true. I mean, to be a great teammate to guys doesn't mean that you were the best player. It just means that you were a good dude and you care about people. So for me, that's always what I'm trying to do, and that's something that he's inspiring to me. And he's just taken me under his wing since day one.
We could talk baseball, what we thought about the teams we were about to play. We could talk about our own lives. It's just, I think we were able to really have a good relationship just from everything we were able to discuss and bring into each other's lives, and I'm so thankful for that.
When my mom was in hospice, about a week and a half away from eventually leaving us, she woke up from a then coma, and the one thing she said is, I've seen everyone, but where's Coach Mazey? I haven't seen Coach Mazey yet. So I called Coach, and literally within 5 minutes of me talking to him, he was like, I'll be right there. And it was like 8 in the morning when I called him, and he got in the car with him and Amanda Mazey and drove 6 hours, 5.5, 6 hours to New Jersey, to the hospice facility my mom was at. And we talked for about 20 minutes before we even went in the room. And then we went in the room, and my mom sat there and talked to Coach Mays and Amanda for a good probably 45 minutes to an hour. Told him, I need 2 things out of you before I go. I need you to make sure my son graduates, and I need you to win a national championship this last year. Right after that visit, after he sat with my mom, we both left the room, and me, him, and Amanda just stood there and kind of cried and embraced each other for a little while. And then he got back in his car and drove 6 hours back to West Virginia, all in the same day. So, I mean, that's just, you can't beat that. That meant so much to my family and myself.
I judge these kids on how they treat my family way more than how many home runs they hit. And they've been so good. I'm going to miss that way more than winning games.
Coach Mays is one of a kind and funny guy. People don't realize how funny he is, like off the field. So it's fun going to practice every day with him.
I do my show, and the people in the community come, and I try and let them know how much I appreciate their support, and the people around the state, how much I appreciate their support. I love letting people know how much they're appreciated, and I look forward to getting out in the community a lot of times more than I look forward to the games.
You know, you very rarely see coaches who have the ability to show themselves the door when they're on a high. I think he is one of the most prominent and important figures ever in the program. If you were putting together a Mount Rushmore of WVU baseball, Coach Mazey would definitely be on there.
This is remarkable what's been accomplished at WVU, and I think Coach Saban's is just gonna build on that. And maybe people were worried about the move to the Big 12 in baseball. Not only has it not been something to worry about, it feels like something that's helped the program just take it to another gear. And I think at the center of all that was Randy Mazey's vision, his stubbornness, his competitiveness, his grit, all those things. Maybe we didn't know it at the time, but they were a perfect fit as the foundation of what this program was going to become.
I think when you talk about these program-changing, game-changing coaches in whatever sport it is, football, basketball, Mickey Izzo in soccer, he's one of them. And I think that's his legacy, no question. And again, that's a credit to Randy Mazey and what he's done, and the success that he's had, and also to being able to get players to come in here, that fit who we are. I think that's another important thing about him. He knew quickly who we were, who we are, and who we need to get where we want to go.
When I tune into the game and I see fans standing all the way around the concourse, all the way to the ticket booth, around both sides, people sitting on the berm, I mean, that is just so, it gives me chills just to think about how far that program has come. And all the credit to Coach Mazey, truly, putting this Mountaineer baseball on the map.
It's just been so close to Omaha, right? But that doesn't take anything away from the fact that I think it's one of the greatest program building jobs in the history of college baseball.
This baseball has been such a blessing in so many ways. It also takes a lot away from you as well. And to be able to have the opportunity to get that back, you can always make more money in life, you don't get time back. And to have time is a blessing. And that will be what's next, is just having more time.
I love college baseball. I love West Virginia. I want to watch this program continue to thrive and get better. And my son's coming here to play, so I'm really anxious to sit in the stands with the community and watch my son play for the Mountaineers. I feel like this program is about halfway up the ladder right now. There's a lot more out there that hasn't been accomplished that is going to be up to the next staff to accomplish, and I feel very confident that that's going to happen, and I'll be the first one cheering them on when it does happen. So still a lot to do, but yeah, we left it in a better place, but way more ahead to come. Oh, I ain't going after that one.
Don't do
just
it.
Tip your hat to the crowd on the way out. Go.
They still don't know.
Tip your hat to the crowd, get a nice ovation.
What if they don't clap?
If they don't clap at all, you turn around and come back. When was the last time you've had a sunflower seed in your mouth? Yesterday. On our field, nice. Get on the roof, get on the roof, get on the roof, yes. It's on the roof.
This copyrighted broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield, under the broadcast rights granted by West Virginia University. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the expressed written consent of West Virginia University and Learfield. Announcers are provided by Learfield and approved by West Virginia University.